Okay, so there's knickers and knots, and then there's buns and twists. Knickers and knots we're not doing, buns and twists we are. These are the, you might have seen these before, the classic kind of Swedish cardamom bun, and they get twisted and turned and you get this fantastic rolled effect as you twist them so that it reveals the beautiful caramelised workings on the inside, which we're going to make in just a sec. Another way to use your sourdough, because these are sourdough. So traditionally they've got loads of yeast and loads of butter and loads of milk and eggs and all of that. And of course, you know, none of that is happening here. There is butter. You're spying that going, she's fibbing. But that's a butter that I've been working on for years now. So that's a plant-based butter instead. But these buns are just delicious. And if you are making sourdough at home, then you've got another reason to be able to feed your mother, make a bigger and not waste it. You can just make something else. So I've done these with 100% spelt. They're gnarly, which is why they have this kind of caramelized color, shall we say. But you know, nothing's going to be normal around here. But the flavor of these is sensational. I mean, it's not like they don't have sugar. They absolutely have sugar. But what I'm going to dust them with on top is lucuma powder. I don't know if you've ever heard of this or used it. It's from a fruit and it's a really low GI sweetener. So you can add it into smoothies and you can do all sorts of things with it. But instead of icing sugar on cakes or any kind of, you know, biscuits or things that I want to have that pretty going on, I just use this, which is great. So these buns are with cardamom, 100% spelt, almonds and orange. I kind of put orange in everything. I just can't help it. I remember when I was working on the menu at the restaurant that my brother and I have, and he said, is there anything without orange? Anything? There were 2 things without orange. I thought that was fair. Anyway, that's the finished product. So now we're going to reverse it all, but I'm not going to go back in time, but we'll move those over there and we'll make the filling. You can do this by hand if you want. I don't want to. So the butter goes in. All of the amounts will be on my website, so don't get upset if I'm not telling you the exact amounts. Oh, cardamom. Oh, that smell. It's just amazing. And orange, which is also a delicious smell. Whenever I'm using oranges for anything, I mean, mostly because we use a lot of orange in the tea blends that we do, but I always zest the oranges first and just have a plate somewhere in my kitchen. I zest the oranges and I leave it, and then I'll use the orange separately so that you don't ever waste the zest, because that's what all the essential oils are. It's just this amazing thing that we mostly put in the chook bucket. And chooks don't like it either. Rapadura sugar. This is what gives the buns that beautiful caramel colour and flavour. If you haven't used Rapadura, it's also called panela, which is another name for it. Essentially, it's the sugarcane juice left to dry in the sun. That's it. So it's not even close to being a refined sugar, but it has this amazing deep kind of caramel undertone. So I kind of use it in everything. It's a little bit sandy and grainy, which is another reason to use the food processor. And almond meal. I always make my own, only because I always get a little freaked out that if it's been sitting in a bag for a while, you know, almonds oxidize really quickly, and so you're going to get that, you know, that weird stale nut flavour when they've gone rancid. It just ruins everything. So I just blitz up my own almonds and make my own almond meal. It's easier. And vanilla, because we love vanilla. Right, so that's going to be the internal spread for the dough, which is still doing its thing here. I just want it to have a little bit more time just bringing that up, but that's looking pretty good. Right, let me make this. Right, so it's something not dissimilar to peanut butter, but nowhere near as smooth is what we've ended up with. Oh my God, it smells so good. Right, we need to roll the dough out. You want to have a well-floured surface. Okay, so the dough itself is 100% spelt, and look at the colour because of that Rapadura sugar. Yummy. And it's beautifully pliable. I fed my mother to make a bega. I've used 150 grams of bega in this. Great way to, like I said, feed your mother, make some of these, and then feed it again, make your bread. You want to feed your mother to make a bega twice before you do your sourdough bread. This also has, it's not a straight up bread recipe. This is more like a, well, if I say brioche, you're going to think, well, then that's loads of butter and eggs and things, and of course it doesn't have that. But it's more like a sweet bun, because that's what we're trying to make here, based on sourdough rather than a sweet version of bread, if you know what I mean. I haven't taken a sourdough recipe and sweetened it. I've taken a traditional sweet bun recipe and made it plant-based and used sourdough instead of yeast. So that's the way that we've arrived at this. What you want is to be able to, well, up to you. I usually make 8 buns out of this. You can do 10, but who wants small buns? No. Well floured surface, because it's a sweet bread. It's a sweet and slightly sticky mixture, so you don't want to get yourself in a bother. Try as best as you can to make something of a rectangle out of this, and then you're going to be able to cut it really easily and also proportion it really easily. The thickness of your dough at the point when you're going to spread it with the mixture is about like that. And what does that look like? 1/2 centimetre? Something like that. All right, so that's that. Now, let's take our mix. So you're spreading it across. This smells so good. Cardamon's one of those things, whenever I'm cooking this, Damien always says, "Are you making curry?" I'm like, hysterical. No, I'm not making curry, just because it's one of those spices that is associated with curry. But it's beautiful in sweet things. Okay, so now we're just going to bring this over the top of the other half. What I usually do, because, you know, no one's going to stand here with a ruler, I just do it in halves, and then I do that in halves, and then I do that in halves. Now we're up to the pants stage. I can't help but think about trousers when I do this. You'll see why. So leaving about, what is that, 2 centimetres at the top, cut the trousers all the way down each one of your pieces. When you're twisting these, you turn one of the trousers to that outside of the leg, and then you turn the other trouser toward that side. And then you do this crazy thing where you move them around each other. And look, this is all a bit organic. I'm sure if we had, you know, the most perfect baker here, well, I'd just be sitting and having a cup of tea with you, wouldn't I? But this is the rustic version. Now, what I do at this stage, because when you've made your dough and you've made the filling, I tend to go, yeah, that's enough for today. I don't now want to sit around, let these prove for another couple of hours and just wait for them and then cook them. So I let these do a slow ferment overnight in the fridge. Just make sure that you cover that so it's completely sealed from the air, otherwise they're going to get a bit crusty. And then the best part about that is the next morning, get up, take them out of the fridge, let them come up to room temperature while your oven is heating to 200 degrees. And then you bake these in 20 minutes, but because you've done all of the work the day prior, you kind of walk out with these freshly baked buns and everybody's astounded. We like astounded people. Little twisty buns. Yes, there were 8. Why are there only 6? Well, I'll leave that to you to figure out. I have tea, which means I can now have one of these. I want to show you the inside though. Yum! Did you hear that little crack? Look at that. So the filling itself goes all the way through. And it's such a beautiful smell because of the cardamom and the orange. I mean, that's a delicious thing when you're baking. Beautiful. I won't munch on that while we're chatting. But I will say that if you've made these before, I'd love to know what you do. I'd love to know what you actually call that maneuver, because I don't have a word for it. I'd like to know how you do that maneuver, because I just kind of came up with that. I'm not sure if that's even the right or the wrong way to do it, or if there is a right or a wrong way to do it. But, you know, let me know. Let me know if you make them. Let me know if you have some kind of catastrophe, because, you know, we can share that and all feel better. And subscribe, because there's bound to be excellent rewards in that. We're working on that.